Hey, what's up, guys? It's Ethan, the host of the Three Shells podcast. I just wanted to tell you guys that this episode is going to be a little different in that it's going to be split up into two separate parts. The first part is with Ryan Ciaffi again, where we finally discuss the highly recommended by him Richard Elfman's Forbidden Zone. We also, in honor of the 20th episode, count down the top 20 movies of 2023 so far. And in the latter half of the episode, I'm joined with Matt, where we continue our discussion that I had on the bonus episode and discuss two more basketball movies, Hustle and Hoop Dreams. Enjoy. Ryan,
Yes.
are you ready to enter the fifth dimension?
At the time you made Forbidden Zone, after all these years now that you think about the time that you put into it and making it, did you consider the original release a failure?
Economically, yes. I mean, it bankrupted me and I lost my house.
So I've been telling Ethan to watch this movie for like almost a year now,
Yeah.
and because
First
I
off,
thought-
welcome back.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I've been wanting Ethan to watch this movie for a very long time now.
I believe you mentioned it on the way back in the second episode
Yeah.
with Gallo.
Yeah, all those hardcore Three Shell podcast fans. If you remember me mentioning the Forbidden Zone back in episode 2,
I think you mentioned it in all three podcasts.
I
It's
probably
been
did.
something that you've been hammering
it's, just-
on.
it's a movie that it's so unforgettable.
Oh, yeah. This movie's insane. But, like, how did you discover it?
So my girlfriend showed it to me because she told me that her she was an art major.
Right.
We just graduated, and her professor told her that her paintings remind him of this movie.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Very because a lot of it,
Like psychedelic? Like
Psychedelic.
patterny?
well, it's a lot, and then if you notice too, there's a lot of like 30s and 40s feelings in this movie.
What do you mean by that?
Like it's a lot like this movie's almost like Eraserhead with what's it called, with like Pee-wee's Playhouse.
I definitely see the Pee-wee's Playhouse influence here with the sped up dancing and all
Yeah.
that crazy shit. And
So,
like Pee-wee's Big Adventure was directed by Tim Burton, who I mentioned because this is the directorial debut of Richard Elfman, who is actually the brother of Danny Elfman, a
Who's also in this
longtime
movie.
collaborator
Yeah.
of Tim Burton, and who is also in this movie, right? But Danny Elfman, a composer, he
Mhm.
used to be in a pop group called the Knights,
No, it wasn't it.
the
No.
Sacred Knights of Oingo Boingo.
I know Oingo Boingo. Yeah.
Yeah,
the
no, that's what it
80s,
was called.
Oingo Boingo.
I wrote it down here. Hold on. The Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingos. Yeah, so that group, they used to like put on like stage shows and like sing and shit like that, and they basically, Danny Elfman didn't want to do that anymore too much, so this was basically their last big hurrah to that act, basically this circus act, basically. So that gives a little bit of context to
Yeah.
what you're watching here, because if you go into this blindly, like I did,
I went. Yeah. So,
what kind of blindly? I have the Blu-ray right here, by the way.
Mhm.
And then on the Blu-ray, I'm getting all this information from Richard Elfman's commentary track.
Oh,
on here.
there's commentary track.
Yeah,
on
it's
there?
very interesting. If Richard Elfman and what's his name? Shit, the guy who plays Chicken Boy.
Chicken Boy and his twin brother, twin sister.
Yeah, I was very confused for the longest time because I thought they were the same character.
Yeah, I think they're twins or something.
But like the guy who plays that, they're both on this commentary track, and it's very interesting. Why did you want me to see this? I guess
because I know you're a big Danny Elfman fan,
I am. Yeah,
and this is like his first movie ever that he's in.
the coolest thing I got out of it is seeing just like the little bit of influences and shit that like caught my ear, like listening to it. Like, I'm just gonna jump right into it. We'll get into the plot later. But when Danny Elfman is singing his songs,
Yeah.
specifically the one where he goes into
When he's
hell,
the devil.
yeah, and he's the devil. It sounds a lot like the Boogeyman from Nightmare on
Well, I
Elm
mean, but
Street,
do you know-
Nightmare Before
Well,
Christmas.
Well, that's actually Minnie the
Yeah.
Moocher.
Oh,
That's a
really?
real. So I was telling you, a lot of these songs are parodies and very related to music from like the 30s and 40s.
Okay, so that
So the
is
song-
actually like
An
a
actual song, but he changed the lyrics a little bit.
okay.
So it's an actual song called Minnie the Moocher, like by Cap Calloway. And it's also in I remember I mentioned the Blues Brothers. He performs that song, Chap Calloway, in that movie as an older man.
The
'Cause he
Blues
was
Brothers?
yeah, Blues Brothers. 'Cause he made that song in the 30s, and he was like 80 years old in the Blues Brothers, and he performs it. But it's a very like 30s and 40s song that was huge back in the day. And
Yeah.
I guess that and a lot of these songs in the movie too are like 40s and like different renditions.
Reinterpretation? Okay.
Reinterpretations, yeah.
I know the Queen song played by, I forget her name. She's actually a well-known actor. She's actually an Oscar-nominated actor who
Well,
managed to be in this movie.
the King is in James Bond.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's in one of the
I think Golden Gun.
yeah, Golden Gun. Here, let me pull up the IMDb for this film. Oh, so Suzanne Tyrell.
Her last name's Tyrell,
Yeah,
like Game of Thrones.
yeah, I guess. Fat City is the movie that she got nominated in. But she wrote her own song,
Oh, really?
and then Danny Elfman
Compose it?
composed it. Yeah, I like the songs in this.
No,
I really do. I mean, her song's a little anticlimactic. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of ends, but like I said, I like the Devil song. The fucking
I think my favorite song is the ABC song.
dude, holy. Okay, we have to go in order. I
Yeah.
feel like I think we can't jump all over the place. So, the plot of Forbidden Zone is about the what family is this?
I don't remember their
No.
names. Oh, they're like a friend. They moved into a new house because like
yeah.
the backstory is like there was like a
crackhead.
crackhead clown
Yeah.
that lived in the house.
And then 4 years later, they move in, and the Forbidden Zone's in their house.
Yeah.
It's like a
fifth dimension.
forbidden.
Yeah.
Don't go into it. We have a quite chaotic dinner scene, or lunch, or I don't know. It's crazy. Like, they interrupt each other. They're just spouting a bunch of gibberish. Some of them are lip syncing. That one of them has a horn like bonk bonk. The noise effects in this movie are just insane.
And
the
then
whole movie is at
the
100 right away.
The one girl's French for some reason.
Yeah. Weird. This movie's fucking weird. I forgot to like. I probably should have like mentioned this. Like, this is a weird ass.
Is this the weirdest movie you talked about on the podcast?
Definitely the weirdest movie talking about on the podcast. Not the weirdest movie I've seen though.
What's the weirdest movie you've seen?
Possession, or Pink Flamingo.
I've heard Pink Flamingo, but I've never seen.
Pink Flamingo legit has a scene where you see a guy's asshole go in and out, and it's a singing asshole.
Oh,
Very
nice.
disgusting.
That's
She
shut that out.
It is I'm sorry. It's far more insane than Forbidden Zone. But Forbidden Zone is crazy in a different way.
Yeah.
It's crazy in a drug filled way. Like, what is even happening? Like,
There's no
I
coherent-
would say Pink Flamingo is more like shocking in its grossness and satire and stuff like that. This was just like, to me, I just found, like you said, Eraserhead and Pee-wee's Big Adventure, like super Lynchian, super weird. Have you ever seen any David Lynch movies?
I've seen Eraserhead.
That's my favorite one, to be honest.
Definitely the most popular one.
Yeah.
I've seen Mulholland Drive.
Mulholland Drive is
I've
super
seen Mulholland
popular.
Drive.
Did you expect what's his face to show up? Hannah Montana's
Oh no,
Billy Ray Cyrus. That was the most. I still can't believe that
I
cameo.
remember listening to the podcast you had with Justin and Lily talking about
Yeah,
Billy Ray Cyrus showing up.
Cyrus. I'm like, what? That's all you've seen?
Yeah, just
I would see Wild at Heart. It's Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern,
Mhm.
and Nicolas Cage plays a guy, like, he's just Elvis. Essentially, that's all he is.
But I mean, like Eraserhead, like that's another movie that I don't know how to explain. It's like
Yeah. Well, okay, I think I'm gonna have to use my notes for this because so much shit happens one by one.
There's a lot of shit in this movie.
Well, right off the bat, we see blackface.
Yeah.
And there's a funny thing on the commentary. Literally one of the first things Richard Elfman says is, "So I'm not racist." He explains that, like, it's just his humor, and he grew up in a poor neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'm sure he didn't mean ill intent, but it's still in bad taste, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and it's the '80s too. It's not like
Yeah.
it's.
And in this one, I forgot to mention, in this Blu-ray, he has an intro, and he says that he's done some VFX fixing on it.
Mm-hmm.
So he basically George Lucas this movie.
Really.
Yeah, and you know what was the VXX fixing?
What did he fix?
the blackface.
Uh,
There's a clown in the back of the box.
mhm.
That's not a clown in the movie.
No,
That's a
it's
guy
not,
in
yeah.
blackface. And then there's a scene where they're at work.
Yeah.
One of my favorite dance numbers, to be honest.
Oh
They're
no,
really good.
no, that's a
Bum, bum,
fire.
bum, ba-dum.
Oh,
It's like a conga line.
so what's it called? It's like Pico and so dun 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 dun
Dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun. Yeah, it's really
dun.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah. Those guys were all in blackface.
Yeah.
They weren't white.
yeah, they're
But
all
like it looks
blackface.
so weird when they try to color them into like the right skin color.
Yeah, because I've only seen it in color,
hmm
and like it's hard to tell sometimes like if it's blackface or not. Because
I would
like,
say those two scenes were the only ones I noticed where like you can see that they tried to they digitally fixed it into making it their color or a clown's
Yeah.
outfit in one case.
it's a very sexual movie too.
What?
It's a very sexual
Oh
movie.
yeah, it's very horny. He originally premiered these movies in like college campuses because he
Mhm.
really couldn't get premiere in real theaters. Obviously, one college campus kicked him out for the movie.
Mhm.
I think it was because it was the racist shit.
Yeah.
And the one threatened to arson the
Really?
theater if they showed it. So for the longest time, this movie kind of
Mhm.
got pushed out and like no, he was trying to make the next midnight movie like Eraserhead, like
Mhm.
Pink Flamingos, like Holy Mountain, and it didn't work out for him because they were just threatening him all the time. So the movie got up into obscurity, and he never really I thought it was a failure until eventually the film became a cult classic after a while. And
Well, I mean, after like Danny Elfman rose
yeah,
in
I'm
popularity.
sure that that has to do with it, like Danny Elfman becoming more popular and discovering that this is the first movie he's like score that he created is like
Yeah, I feel like
fans
if
will come
he
back.
didn't go anywhere after this movie, would have been like forgotten about forever.
I'm glad it's not because
Yeah.
this is insane. You want to mention all the characters in the Forbidden Zone? We mentioned the Queen.
Okay, the Queen, the King. You have the Chicken Boy. You have the
Chicken Boy is my favorite character. I just like fuck. He's like the way he gets introduced. He's like in a trash can.
yeah, and then he has a twin sister,
Yeah.
or is it like a
I don't know. It's a
twin
different. It's
brother or
him.
something? It's
It's
him,
him,
it's
but
like
in a
his twin.
different outfit.
And then there's like the old man that's like supposed to be the main, quote unquote, kind of main character, the French girl's brother.
Oh, the old
He's
man,
like
the
80
Boy
years
Scout.
old. Yeah.
We have Frenchie.
Frenchie, yes.
Honestly, the only name I remember in the movie.
Yeah, me too. I don't remember what else his name.
I kind of love her fake French accent. Oh, wah. It's so
Yeah.
funny. It's so over the top. Fucking Butler Frog.
Oh, and then like there's that one woman who's just topless the entire time.
Oh, the princess.
The
That's
princess.
the daughter.
She's just has her boobs out the entire time.
The bald men, the bald boxers.
Well,
I love the. Da, 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 da,
well,
da,
they're
da,
also-
da, 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 da. It's so funny.
They're also in the ABC song. They're like dressed as girls.
Oh, they're the girls?
Yeah.
And then later on, they do the same thing as the girls' outfit, but they're like. So we're introduced to all the people from the Forbidden Zone. I think if we forget someone, we'll mention them on the way.
Yeah.
The school scene, we get introduced quite the characters.
Yeah, we have the teacher.
Oh, dude, the teacher's makeup. What
Yeah,
the
it's-
fuck? Oh, and then we see the annoying orange thing with the mouth.
Oh, yeah, no, that's the guy with the Mickey Mouse ears.
The Mickey Mouse ears, yeah. And the way his mouth moved during
Yeah.
that was fucking
I
bizarre.
mean- well, then you have the one line of like the old guy is like saying like F is Faye, da da da, Fuck Freaky Faye, da 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 da, fuck you.
And
then
then
the
Chicken
guy-
Boy's like,
G is gay,
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 gay. Gay, gee, goo, ga, go, goo. And then the commentary track, he's like, "Hey Richard, why do you have to say all the gay lines and shit like that?" The the human ceiling chandelier. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, and with the king and the queen's like dinner banquet.
You know he
thing.
dies.
Oh,
There's
oh,
one
yeah.
moment he dies off
Oh,
screen,
yeah,
and
yeah.
there's one moment where it's him, and then the next day he's like, I don't know what scene it is, but the next day you see him, and he's just like a skeleton
skeleton.
instead.
Well, then the Chicken Boy dies too. Turns into like a floating head.
That's when I realized it was two different characters.
Yeah.
Classrooms filled with pimps, Hitler, prostitutes,
Or cavemen. Or
a
like
caveman, mental patient, There was like also a Hispanic stereotype as
Yeah.
well. There was like the white beater and like the buckle down.
Yeah, and the guy was like, he had like spray tan on or something.
And during the commentary, this is why I say the commentary is really funny
Yeah.
because during the commentary, Chicken Boy, the guy who plays Chicken Boy, mentions that a guy had a heart attack on set,
Oh,
and then
really?
Richard Elfman corrects him and is like, he had a heart attack after the movie. And I'm like, whoa, I don't. That's a bizarre story. I forgot to mention too. They did mention they're making a sequel,
Oh,
or
they
they're
did?
working on a sequel.
Well, when did this commentary check come out?
Oh, they said DVD. So I'm guessing that commentary is a lot older than
like,
that Blu-ray. So,
mm.
and they also acknowledged the blackface in the film. So I'm thinking it's an older commentary track because they wouldn't have mentioned
Like
it if
20
it was.
years ago,
Yeah,
probably.
I'm guessing 20 years ago. So I'm guessing that was a fucking joke about making a sequel. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I
I mean, it'd be interesting to seeing Danny Elfman come back to the screen.
has he been in other movies? He should
I
do.
don't know. Like,
He's been in Nightmare, of course, Nightmare
he-
Before
oh,
Christmas.
he was
He's
Jack,
Jack.
yeah.
So,
but I don't think he's like in any like in real life movie. You know, like an actual like him in the movie.
no. But there's a casualty. The guy
Yeah.
just straight up shoots another guy, and then the teacher's like,
That does it, Johnny! You're going to Mr. Yodelbean's office!
and then Frenchie gets into the forbidden zone.
Yes, no, she like slips into it. It's like, I wonder what will be behind that forbidden door. And then she
I
like,
told you, I love that accent.
and then it's like she gets swallowed up by the door, and it's like intestines, and then she gets shit out.
The animation's sick.
Yeah.
It's really sick. That's one thing I like caught me off guard in the movie is like how good
It's
like
really good.
and how it meshes in with the rest of the film is really cool. John Mordos, that's the animator guy. It's all single cell. What happens to her? She gets captured by the king.
Oh no, like the frog. Oh no, yeah, the king falls in love with her, and she wants to marry her.
I forgot to mention the queen and the king.
Yeah.
Actually dated in real life.
Really?
Yeah, I'll mention Susan Terrell and Harvey Venchesi. They actually dated in real life.
And he is actually French, I think.
Yeah, he is actually French.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, in the ABC dance, the break dancer. Actually part of a breakdancing group called the Lockers apparently.
Lockers.
And he fucking kills it. There's a moment where he does a split. Wait, he jumps like from 4 feet off. Like he does a split like off of a desk. Like he jumps off a desk and does a split. It must have been like 4 feet in the air or something
That's when
like
they're
that.
just like saying the whole ABCs.
I hope he didn't hurt himself for this film. Oh yeah, and then the brothers go in, and then we meet the Jewish guy.
The rabbi.
Yeah, Herman Bernstein.
Yeah.
That's Richard. That's Richard's grandfather.
Oh really?
Yeah. I don't know if his grandfather agreed for it, but he seems to be in good sport.
Are the Elfmans actually Jewish?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I seem to be in good sport. He made that really clear on the soundtrack commentary. My favorite line he says is, "So what's a nice Jewish boy doing in the sixth dimension?"
I wonder how they came up with all this. Like
Probably like a lot of drugs.
A lot of drugs.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny how it's originally in black and white.
Well,
I guess the budget was
no. I think he had
low.
trouble with the budget. I think he sent the film processing into like Japan or something to get it processed.
It's kind of like Clerks. How like people think it's like in black and white as like it's
aesthetic,
like aesthetic,
but it's like
you can't afford it. Like Kevin Smith couldn't afford Clerks in color.
I'm glad it's in color now because I don't think it would be that good in black and white. To be honest with you, the colors really pop here, and I'm guessing the nowadays special effects made it better.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna compare Clerks again. Like this movie in color makes it better, but for a movie like Clerks, like if you add color to Clerks, it doesn't really add anything, you know.
Well, the second one, right? The second one's in
Well,
color.
I mean like the first one though. Like the first one's in black and white. So I mean, if you
does it feel different though?
Like, what do you mean?
Like the vibe of the two movies.
I've honestly only seen the first one of Clerks, but I mean I know that the second one is in color. Oh, then you have the other queen who's the prisoner.
Oh yeah, they discover the other queen, and one of the brothers has the great idea to just instantly hump them.
But like this movie is so horny. Like Every
Yeah,
time,
there's just random hookers in the Forbidden Zone just locked up, chained up to like these it's like a cave or something.
yeah, it's some kind of.
They're like chained up to the wall.
It's almost like Temple of
Chained up to
Doom.
the wall. Yeah. In a way, Forbidden Zone is like Temple of Doom.
Wait, is he in anything else? Richard Elfman.
He's made this movie called Shrunken Heads. I've never seen it. Modern Vampires, 1998. Aliens and Clown Geeks. Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks.
Just a bunch of B movies.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not as good as this, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he's gonna make a second one, but what the fuck is Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks? That came out 2019. You're making that instead?
I mean, at least he's still making movies.
Oh, the Factory sound. Do you remember that?
Oh,
The
yeah.
fact it sounded.
Dun.
Have you ever seen the remake of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the Violet Beauregard song? That's like electric, like funk.
Oh.
It sounded a lot
Yeah.
like that. It was like,
Oh wait, when?
like a lot of mechanic shit.
Oh, you mean like the like when she's like the blueberry?
Yeah, when she turns into the blueberry. Yeah,
Yeah.
that song that they sing. A gorilla shows up, and I think it throws him into the cage, right? That was
Yeah.
before they met the princess. We kind of skipped over that. The actress who plays the ex-queen is also a famous, like, Andy Warhol actress, so...
Oh, the Yetz clown.
Yeah.
Oh, the Yetz. Sorry, the Yetz queen.
We see the frog get some action from the queen.
No, was it the queen or the princess?
Oh, the princess. Yeah, that's right.
She's never wearing a. I don't think she wears a shirt at all in that movie. She's shirtless the entire time.
I don't mind. I don't know. When watching this, I really just got flashes from, like, Tim Burton, like Tim Burton's movies. I
Maybe Tim Burton was inspired by this movie.
probably. He was a fan of Elfman, so...
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, like, I truly think, like, Elfman is a big part of, just like Spielberg is a big part of, Williams is a big part of Spielberg's career, like,
Yeah. Elfman's a big
Elfman's
part
of Tim Burton's career.
You know,
The title cards in this movie are really cool, like, in the intro, and, like, when they introduce Danny Elfman, too. It's like,
Mhm.
welcome to the, I don't know what it says, but, like, as they're walking into the, Boogeyman lair,
Yeah.
it really feels like a Nightmare on Elm Street, a Nightmare Before Christmas, Boogeyman lair. That whole song is so reminiscent of it.
Well, I remember. No, I actually watched this movie. I think the day after we did, or it might have been the same day we did the episode about House.
Oh, really?
I really want to get into like weirder movies, and my girlfriend mentioned this movie, and we watched it. Like I think that the same night after Shadow episode 2, Shadow
Yeah.
and Gallo. But yeah.
Oh, and the last song is great.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like the last
Oh
song.
yeah, it's like everybody. Even like after the queen's dead, she sings like she has her tits popping out.
Apparently, Jeff Bridges' wife is in one of the dancers in this.
Really?
Yeah, I guess
How'd
that's
you
what
find-
they
how'd you
said.
find that out?
Commentary,
Oh,
they mentioned
commentary.
it. So here's what I think about Forbidden Zone,
Okay.
okay? Insane crazy.
Mhm.
And I just wouldn't recommend watching it sober.
No, this is definitely like a drug cabinet
Yeah.
movie. Like, get your friends,
Yeah.
smoke a joint, get some chips. No, see, I think it transcends the rating system. Like, it's probably my favorite weird movie. That and House.
I would say I would recommend Pink Flamingos if you like this, but Pink Flamingos is like,
Gross.
it's gross.
Is it grosser than Racerhead?
Yeah. And do you know the infamous dog shit scene?
Oh, from what?
Oh, you don't? Okay. I'll
Oh.
just keep my mouth shut about that.
Pink Flamingo? Pink
Yes.
Flamingo?
Yes.
I probably heard you talk about it on the podcast, right?
No, this is the first. I believe this is the first time I mentioned it because I
Really?
saw it recently.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check it out.
You don't scare me now, you don't scare me ever. Asking you for mercy or forgiveness, no, never.
In honor of the 20th episode,
Yeah.
it's been halfway through the year. Here are the best movies so far of 2023. I've seen a lot of movies. How about you? Have you seen anything?
I think so far the best movie of the year is Infinity Pool that I've seen.
Yeah, it's up there.
I
for
think
me, actually.
Oppenheimer might. If Oppenheimer meets his expectations, it might beat it. But so far, it's Infinity Pool for me, number one.
I want to give an honorable mention to the Mario movie.
Oh, that's honestly a lot better than I thought it would be. I thought it'd be a lot.
It's
worse.
exactly what I thought it was gonna be. It made me want to play the video games, and
Yeah.
that's kind of like what it's supposed to do.
Mhm.
It's a commercial.
Yeah,
So.
pretty much.
Susu. That's at number 20. It's about a gold digger in the 1940s in Sweden, I believe. It takes place in World War II. He finds gold, and basically the whole movie is him crossing like a no man's land to cash in on the gold. Basically the opening of There Will Be Blood, but he has to go through Nazis instead of carry himself
Interesting.
through the desert with a broken leg. It's really good. It's kind of a B movie. It's broken up into chapters, kind of like Tarantino. So if you like Tarantino, especially like Inglourious Bastards, I would recommend it. At number 19, Scream 6. You seen any of the Scream movies?
I've seen the first one and the fifth one. 'Cause
Okay.
I know that. 'Cause I haven't seen the
First
new
one's
one.
really good.
First
You know,
one's, yeah. Dude,
First one's classic.
I love oh, what's his name?
Matthew Lillard.
Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's
in it. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it for anyone who doesn't
who
know.
hasn't seen Scream yet.
We talked about it in the other podcast with Danny. Danny is a fan of Matthew Lillard,
Yeah.
but somehow doesn't know about
He kind of
him in Scream, if you know what I
He
mean.
kind of looks like Matthew Lillard when he had the hair in high school, like
Yeah.
the really like long hair in high school.
But yeah, Matthew Lillard is great. And this is the 6th installment in the franchise. As far as the 6th installment of a franchise goes, it's as good as you can get. They're in New York City this time. It's the same cast as the 5th one. So you have Jenna Ortega, Melissa Barrera, and they call themselves the Core Four in this movie. It's kind of a cute thing, but I liked it. I'm a fan of the franchise, and this is just another good one in the franchise. So, Renfield.
Oh, Renfield.
Nicolas Cage as a
Was
vampire.
it that good? I saw the.
I liked
the
it.
trailer. It looked
I
interesting.
thought it didn't exactly like it didn't reach its full potential. I think Nicolas Cage is only in it like for 20 minutes. He's not. He's more of a supporting character. It's more of a.
Is he more for the trailer?
I think it's more for and he's very expensive too as an actor, so I'm guessing that's why he wasn't in it much. But I like him as Dracula. Every time he's Dracula on screen, I love it. But the rest of the movie is kind of iffy. But I love seeing Nicolas Cage freak out and shit. So I was a big fan of it, regardless of some of the, shortcomings. Guardians 3 at number 17.
I have not seen Guardians 3 yet. I mean, I heard it's probably the best Marvel movie in a while.
It is definitely one of the best Marvel movies in a while, besides Spider-Verse, but that's like different universe or whatever, not MCU. And I like this one. I don't like it as much as the second one or the first one, to be honest with you. I feel like it's too. I don't know. It's too low. It's too small scale. Honestly,
I know it's emotional.
It's
right?
very emotional, and that's where it's the strength. But like the conclusion at the end felt very similar to the first one. In like it was just a giant space battle. It felt very lazy.
But I know the one scene of Rocket saving the baby raccoon.
And I know that, and I know the second one also ends with a giant space battle, but you also have that dynamic with Ego and him fighting it. That was a great. I love the second one so much. Kurt Russell. Air, number 16. Ben Affleck. We mentioned him before. It's about. Well, check out the bonus episode. We reviewed it on the bonus episode, so check that one out. Beau is Afraid.
I haven't heard that one.
Midsummer. Hereditary.
Is it
Same
A24
director.
or no?
A24. Same director. It has Joaquin Phoenix. Definitely the most bizarre, crazy, insane movie I've seen all year. Hard watch though. It's like if you're having a rough time, if you're like in life, I wouldn't watch it. It's kind of like a lot, It's extremely mean to its main character, and I think it's a little bit mean-spirited. But it's one of the most unique films. I would put this up here with Fantastic Zone as being just outside, like just crazy weird. I forgot to mention it, but it's one of those movies where it's just like, man, it's 3 hours long though.
Oh, 3 hours.
So
Alright.
that's the problem I had with it. It was just way too long, but it is something I'm still sitting with to this day. I'm like really, I want to do a pod on it. Blackberry, it's a movie about the BlackBerry. It's very similar to Social Network.
Oh, QBS is like the phone.
Yeah, it's about the phone. It's
Yeah.
about the making of the BlackBerry. I didn't know it was a Canadian thing, but it was about that, how they rose in their late 90s to the early 2000s and how they fell once the iPhone came out. It's similar to Social Network, but it's fun. It has Jay, if you know Jay from This Is the End, that guy.
Oh yeah.
I forgot his last name, but yeah. It's directed by, I forget who it is. Oh, Matt Johnson, who is like Andy Seinberg and what's his name from the Social Network.
Oh yeah.
If they had a baby, that's him. Like that guy.
Oh,
I
definitely see Andy Samberg in that.
Andy Samberg and what's his fucking name? What is
Mark
his name?
Zuckerberg,
No,
Andrew Garfield.
who plays him?
Oh, I don't know the actor's name. I know he's
Fuck!
he's also
How do we not know this guy's
Les
name?
Luthor and
Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg,
It's like if
yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg and Andy Seinberg had a baby. That guy. I'm not the first one to make that joke, by the way. Dungeons and Dragons was also a surprise for me.
Really?
I really liked it, and I know it looked really shitty. The trailers looked awful, and that's why
Mm-hmm.
no one watched it. But big surprise for me. I didn't expect it to be that good. It's like Lord of the Rings, but like a parody.
Is it like
But it takes it like the action sequences are serious, like Lord of the Rings. They actually shoot on location sometimes. It's actually like it's not just a comedy.
Is it kind of like the newer Jumanji movie? How it's like they're like
Yeah.
in the game,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
would,
like not
and
real.
I kind of like the new Jumanji movies too. I think this one's a little bit better, to be
Mhm.
honest with you. Like Chris Pine, I think he's super underrated. I
Yeah.
think he's great. John Wick 4 as 12. Did you see it?
I've only seen the first two.
Non-stop action. Some of the craziest action you'll ever see. The step scenes is iconic. Donnie Yen is great. Just
Well, I know Keanu Reeves hasn't really been in a lot of good. He was in like the shitty Matrix movie last year that nobody watched.
yeah, I didn't watch that. I haven't seen The Matrix.
Really?
No, that's
Not even the
that's like
first
a blind.
one?
Yeah, that's a blind spot. Missing. It is a successor to Searching. The whole movie takes place on a desktop,
Mhm.
and it's basically a daughter trying to find her mom after she goes out on a trip with her fiance, and she goes missing. Thus the title. It's a great thriller. Super creative editing and like just super unique. Not too unique because it's been done before. Like Unfriended, you've seen that movie.
Yeah.
It's like that, but it's not like supernatural. And like I said, it was also a successor to another movie called Searching before. Sharper.
Sharper.
It's a great con man movie with Julianne Moore, who I love from Boogie Nights.
Classic Julianne Moore. She's still acting. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Sebastian Stan is also in it. Justice Smith, who was also in the Dungeons and Dragons movie. I really enjoyed it. I went into it blind, and it was a really good time. I liked it. This movie called Linoleum. I watched it at school. The director came in, Colin West, and did a Q&A thing. I thought it was a touching story about I don't want to say what it's about. It's kind of a spoiler, so I won't say what it is about. But it's a touching melodrama. And then 7 and 8, I have two comedies. I might have put these ones too high, but like, I don't know. We need comedies. When was the last good comedy?
Oh god. I mean,
Can't think, right?
I don't.
Borat, maybe.
Borat 2?
Yeah.
Um,
We talked about this in the Mean Girls, right?
Yeah, we
Didn't we
did.
talk about this? Well, there's been two examples of recently of big movies that come out that are comedies that I quite enjoyed and thought they were funny. No Hard Feelings with Jennifer Lawrence. It's about like she gets hired by this kid's parents to break out of his shell, quote unquote, date him, quote unquote. It leads to a lot of comedic instances. There's some people are saying it's like, oh, it's grooming. Shut the fuck up. It's a comedy. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, speaking of grooming, did you see that Colleen Ballinger song?
What?
Uh, t- t- have you seen the Colleen Ballinger apology video?
Oh yeah, I did see that. I didn't know that was like Jenna Marbles or whatever her name. Not Jenna
No,
Marbles.
Marina Sings.
Marina Sings. I didn't know that was her.
Yeah.
Like I knew that girl looked familiar. I was like,
It's
she looks
definitely
similar.
one of the weirdest apologies you could ever make.
It's weird because that's like an older YouTuber.
Yeah,
to say like
she
that was
around-
when
yeah when
that
we
was
were
a
like in
yeah.
elementary school, she was Marina Sings.
And then Joyride, which is another fun one that's actually really touching towards the third act that I really enjoyed. Is a dramatic movie with Tiana Taylor. Are you familiar with her music? Kanye and alumni.
yeah.
She was one of the albums that come out during that 5 time the Wyoming sessions. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he produced that one.
She's in a drama about a mother who recently got out of jail and is trying to reconnect with her son. It's really touching. It's a New York story, so I like New York stories. All right, post Ethan here. I just wanted to say the title of the film because I forgot to mention it here. It is 1001. It's really good. Check it out. Wes Anderson's Astro City was great, and it's like top 5 for me. We're at 5.
Fantastic Mr. Fox probably like my favorite stop motion movie.
Kind of got popular now with like that trend with TikTok. Like,
Yeah.
oh, my life is a Wes Anderson movie. I'm sure you've seen.
No, I've seen a bunch of Wes Anderson movies, just not the new one.
Past Lives is another great one, A24 film. It's about it's like a great immigrant story about like a pair of friends who have to split apart after eventually immigrating to the U.S. and then they reconnect with Facebook and then they reconnect again. It's a really touching film. It's very quiet though. That it's a little bit harder to recommend to the typical moviegoer.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Into the
Hell
Spider-Verse
yeah.
says number 3. Fuck man, if this wasn't the part 1, this would be number 1. But I have to see how it ends. I can't. It's hard to like judge it as the best movie of the year because there's a whole other.
When's the next one coming out?
I don't know. They say 2024, but then there's reports that like they've been worked to death and they're definitely not going to be finished until 2025. So I don't know.
It took them how many years? 5 years since the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another 5 years, man. I'll be fucking 26, man. I don't. When that movie comes out, yikes. Infinity Pool number 2. I fucking loved it.
Oh yeah.
Talked about it on the podcast.
Mia Goth kills that movie.
Yeah. I think episode 12 we talked about it.
Jamesy.
Yeah. She's very memorable. It's not for everyone. I'll be honest with you. It's very weird. Definitely another weird movie on the list along with Beau is Afraid. But and my number 1 movie, it's probably a movie you haven't heard of. Is the title is very aggressive.
Okay.
How to Blow Up a Pipeline.
Okay.
This movie is an environmental heist movie. It is about a group of environmental terrorists. That's what they are. But honestly,
Environmental terrorists.
it's for people who do acts of violence like property damage in service of the environment. So like I'm gonna slash your tires because fuck you. You're driving a car. That's the type of people some of these people are in this group. But and what's interesting is a lot of them have certain lines that they won't cross, and you see that dynamic. But the whole thing is about a group of environmental terrorists. It's a heist movie about them attempting to blow up a pipeline for the town to wake up and acknowledge that like, hey, we should do something about it. And it's a great heist movie. Not only it somehow manages to get its it is very preachy, but it manages to get its message across and be entertaining at the same time. This is edge of your seat like entertainment, man. Like if you've seen Ocean's 11,
Yeah.
it's very inspired by Ocean's 11, very inspired by the Safdies. I love the camera work here. It's so good. And the twist at the end. There's a twist that there's a gotcha thing with the whole heist that is like mind blowing. And I love the way they use the flashbacks in this film. It's great. It is the movie that made me feel like excited about the movies this year. One of the only ones. But I'll be honest, it's been kind of a rough year.
It's been kind of mid-year.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my top 10, 20 movies of the year. Ciaffi, at least for this segment of the show. Thank you for joining me.
Of course.
And
always, man, always.
And for next episode, you're gonna join me for Dial of Destiny, right?
Dial of Destiny.
Jaws.
Maybe we'll 21.
21, yes, for episode 21, 21 Jump Street,
Yeah.
and Jaws, right?
Yeah.
Jaws. Okay.
All right. I'll see you then.
Yeah, and I hope you enjoy the little extras that I had with Matt. Hustle, an Adam Sandler film. I guess I can ask you, what is your opinion on Adam Sandler as a whole? Because I know he's a very polarizing comedian.
Yeah, I'm not really the biggest fan of his. I enjoy Grown Ups and
Okay. Is it because of the finale with the basketball scene?
No, honestly, I think it's just amplified by that whole cast, and I think they do the comedic jokes like in the movie is pretty good. But what's his other big movies? I'm blanking.
Waterboy. I don't even know why I said Waterboy first, but Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore. That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah, I like Happy Gilmore quite a bit.
I like Happy Gilmore too. Big Daddy, I like too. That's that one I have a soft spot for. He, in my opinion, I think he is very underrated as an actor, and I think he is like so charismatic when he wants to be. He could really just be. He could really make you feel something. Like, I don't know if you ever seen Punch Drunk Love.
No.
But man, that is like, is one of my favorite performances I've ever seen from anyone. It's truly amazing. And like, you see shimmers of it in his comedies, little shimmers of like, just like, I don't know, this like,
vulnerableness and like just like I don't know, he's very wholesome. He's like a very wholesome guy. It seems like even though like even the shitty movies are just like I don't know, I can't get mad at him. Like it seems like you're just having a good time, man. Whatever. But this movie is stands out because it's not a comedy, or at least not directly a comedy, and it's a basketball movie. It's a sports drama, really, and it's funny because he is like a fan of basketball, Uncut Gems, and I mentioned Grown Ups before, but like he has a history of liking basketball. He is a Knicks fan too. So Hustle is about a scout from the 76ers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, first off, well, his boss promotes him to assistant coach, and then he dies. His son takes over, and he assigns him to be a scout again and search for the new player because the 76ers are falling apart. He finds this, I forget it, Bo, I think his name is.
Bo Cruz. Yeah.
Bo Cruz from Spain, and it doesn't work out with the 76ers, and then I'm going through the whole plot again, but the basic plot is he finds this guy and he tries to get him drafted into the NBA. What are your expectations on Hustle, and what did you think about it?
I don't really think I had any expectations. I knew my parents watched it, and like from what I saw, like there was like a lot of current players and like just NBA like staff in it, so I was kind of looking forward to that, like because I actually like know these people, but
Yeah. I see.
um
I don't. It went over my head. I know one of the guys that was harassing Bo. He's one of the players, right?
yes, yeah,
Who's that?
Anthony Edwards, and
Anthony
he was
Edwards.
only
Okay.
drafted like he was in the 2020 draft. He was the first pick, so he's like really young. He like just came in the league, so and we'll talk about him a bit, but he's like his performance like really like I thought it was really good. But yeah.
It's interesting. Is Bo a real athlete in the NBA?
Yeah, he's not. He's on the actually. He used to be on the Nuggets for a while.
Okay.
Denver Nuggets. I looked up. Apparently, he's on the Raptors now. But yeah, he's not really like
A great player.
Yeah, no, he's like a third stringer, fourth stringer. Yeah.
But he's pretty good acting here.
Mhm.
I was surprised. He has to like carry a good chunk of the film,
Yeah.
like the drama of the film, and I think he has great chemistry with Adam Sandler. Like I think they make a great pair. I saw this a while back, and I want to see more of this from Adam Sandler. Just like more serious, more just real movies. You know that like that are good. You know,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
to say that his recent comedies just are not. They're hit or miss. You know, they're hit or miss for me, and there are a lot. Most of the time, they're misses for a lot of people. But and this movie's funny as well. Like I like that aspect too. It does have some funny moments. I believe I forget he FaceTimes one of a basketball player, a famous basketball player.
Right, Dirk. Yeah.
Dirk.
Yeah.
And what's you call it? He's like, say hi to your grandma for me. He's like, my grandma died. He's like, all right, I forgot you told me about that. And just hangs them up on him.
Yeah.
It's just like that type of humor I fucking love. There's other moments like that too. What other players did you notice in the cast? Or what other like sports cameos?
Oh.
I wanted to say Adam Sandler, another example of him being a big basketball fan. Shaq is in like a lot of his movies. He's in Grown Ups too. He's in that Blended movie, and I think he's in a few others.
Okay, I haven't seen that many Adam Sandler movies now that I think about it, but yeah, in this movie, yeah, there was a lot. Like towards the end when they were doing those like open runs, Trey Young, he's on the Hawks. Aaron Gordon, he's on the Nuggets, and Chris Middleton. Yeah, there was a lot, and then Doc Rivers, he actually just got fired recently.
Really?
But he was the actual coach for the Sixers. That was kind of cool. That
Okay.
he was in this movie too, coaching the Sixers. But yeah, but Anthony Edwards, I want to go back to him. I feel like did such a good job of making you not like him, and
Yeah.
actually like I was not
Right?
like mad when Bo at the combine when Bo like literally looked like he was gonna punch him. Like, dude, that like I can't get over like
It's real though. It's like such.
Yeah.
You know why? Because he probably has either done that to people or has been the receiving end of that and like put
Yeah.
that into his character. It's really good acting. I don't know. It's not. I guess it's not really good acting because he is like a basketball player and he is playing a basketball player.
Yeah.
But like, it works. Like it works to cast him as the antagonist of the film.
Yeah.
Queen Latifah, unexpected pairing with Adam Sandler. I think they have chemistry too.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I'm not a big Queen Latifah fan, but I was, yeah, no, it definitely.
I thought the
definitely
family
worked.
was wholesome, and I am biased. I did like how the daughter was a filmmaker.
Mm.
And
Oh yeah, that's right.
it is cool how they put that into the story. They make a reel to get him notice into
Mm.
the
Oh,
draft.
yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
Um, when they introduced her, she said, "Can you give me a ride to the Evil Dead screening at a cemetery?" That sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah,
What?
right, yeah.
He has another one coming up about sports cards with the Safdie brothers.
Oh.
Sports card betting.
Hmm.
It's rumored that Ben Affleck's also in it too. You got to watch Uncut Gems, man.
Yeah, I'm kind
That
of.
one is actually like, this is a good film, but I will say it is by the numbers. It is very generic. It is like very Rocky inspired, like very underdog wins. If you like basketball, that's the plus. You know, you get to watch the game like really in depth in this film. And like, but what was I saying? Oh, Uncut Gems. It's not about basketball, but one of the main characters, shit, I am blanking on Celtics player.
It was Kevin Garnett.
Kevin
right?
Garnett,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
holy shit. I
It's
can't
like,
believe I forgot his name.
You're good.
Kevin
yeah.
Garnett is actually like a big character in the movie, and
Oh.
it's like, it's so good.
Cool.
Adam Sandler, is this a renaissance for him? Is this a renaissance for him? I hope. I'm gonna give it a middle shelf. Like I said before, it is kind of by the numbers. You do know that he will make it. It is kind of cool to see like them split up at the end though. Like it is not like, oh, they're gonna keep on coaching together. They are doing their own thing, kind of like how life is, you know.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this industry, the a lot of industries, honestly, there's a lot of hellos and goodbyes. You know, you only work with people for it's an industry where you work with people for a long amount of time, and then eventually you just gotta say bye. You know.
Yeah.
Sure, that's how coaches feel when the players get drafted and stuff like that, or they move on to the. We'll get to it, but like the Hoop Dreams really covers that really well. Yeah. What you think?
I'm gonna not to copy, but I think I'm gonna go middle shelf also. I did really like it, but now like having processed it and given some time, it has kind of dropped a little bit for me to where like yeah, it is like very generic and it did to me it flew by, but in my opinion it wasn't like a good kind of flown by. Like I was so entertained. It was kind of like there wasn't enough originality in like the story and everything. But
I think it's carried by like like not the characters, but the acting and the performances. You know.
yeah,
I think it really is carried by like Adam Sandler, their chemistry together, and I really like those two together. It's really good chemistry.
yeah.
Another thing that was very Rocky inspired, that whole march thing, the whole race to the top.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, I said Rocky. This takes place in Philadelphia. This is so Rocky inspired. What the hell? Oh, one other thing I wanted to bring up in the movie. There's a lot of like product placement when he's like going from like country to country, like scouting, and he's like eating all this fast food. I thought that was gonna come back. I thought he was gonna have like heart problems or something, like some like you know, second act like dramatic thing where like, oh, you're gonna die soon or something. That never comes back. He just eats junk food. That's just a part of his character.
Yeah, and I found it so weird how Bo's character is like I understand he doesn't want to get fat, but remember the part where he's like eating one bite of like so many different like kind of
Oh
foods?
yeah.
Oh, it's just like what like I know he says why, but it's just like I just found that so odd. Like okay,
He is from like
yeah,
poverty. He doesn't understand, I guess. Like
yeah,
you can I don't know. I don't know.
yeah.
We can get to our third movie, a real doozy here.
Ah,
3-hour documentary, Hoop Dreams. To be honest with you, when I recommended this to you, I didn't watch it. This was something on my list that I was meaning to watch. Honestly, Matt, thank you for watching a 3-hour documentary, even though it is about basketball, and I think it would have interested you. You did watch The Last Dance, and that's more than 3 hours.
oh yeah.
Hoop Dreams follows Will and Arthur from Chicago, I think, right? Yeah. But it's about Arthur and Will, and it follows basically their high school years of basketball like sports. You may say, okay, why is it 3 hours then? Why is that like, that doesn't sound dramatic at all, but like, it is very dramatic, and it is very like, first off, these kids are from poverty. They come from the ghetto. They come from like bad neighborhoods. Matt, what did you think about Hoop Dreams?
It was so like I'm really at a loss for words and like this how good it is. It's following their lives. I think it really makes you realize like I feel like with sports you always hear about oh yeah this player came from like nothing and then like how much he's achieved and I feel like you don't really realize it until like watching something like this actually seeing it like day to
Hmm.
day like
It doesn't sink in when you just see a documentary and
yeah
it goes over their childhood in like 5 seconds, you know?
yeah, like Arthur's family, like how they were like lived like a couple days straight with the lights out and everything,
Hmm.
and like his dad was doing like he literally saw his dad make like a drug deal or like it's
Yeah, and
just
they caught that on film. It's crazy.
yeah, and I can't get over how they filmed like inside like these high school practices, like how they're allowed to do that. But yeah, yeah, no,
I think the filmmakers were from UCLA because it did say in the beginning of it like this was like archived in UCLA Film Vote. So
mm,
I probably should have did my research, but this probably was like film students in like UCLA probably found this and wanted to make a documentary,
oh okay,
probably like a film project. Yeah, it because like you always like I said you always hear stories about like I'll come from like rags to riches stories, but like you're there, you're living their day to day lives. I want since this is such a long movie, I wanted to go over like each year of their lives just to go over like what they did because I this movie is structured perfectly how like they go through each year. Like this they spend a perfect amount of time in each year.
yeah, yeah,
Um and it honestly gets more and more dramatic as each year goes on. Kind of like how high school is, you know? Um and it's it's funny too. Like they seem so happy in the beginning. They seem so happy to be
yeah,
like accepted into like a high school sports team. Little do they know
yeah.
all the difficulties they have ahead of them. Yeah, I think the weakest part is the freshman year part because it's really not that interesting. It's just them getting accepted into college and like I say weakest part is the documentary, so I'm judging it like it's a storyline, but like it is the least interesting part of the story because it is how they started, you know,
Yeah.
playing ball and stuff like that. And then once we get into the sophomore year, already Arthur is done with St. John's, right?
I'm pretty sure it's St. Joseph's.
St.
Or
Joseph's. I
Saint.
keep forgetting.
It's okay.
St. Joseph's. Um, he can't afford it anymore, so he gets put in regular school,
Yeah.
and it seems it's on at first it seems like oh that's a bad thing for him. It's like it's not gonna work out for him. He's not getting the recognition. He's not gonna get the spotlight because he's not playing at a Catholic school, a school with money. Um, Meanwhile, Will is striving. He's 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 winning games. He's on the varsity team.
Getting all these D1 scholarships. Or-
It's funny. There's a scene where like the mom is going through the mail and she's like humble bragging, like, "Oh my God, look at all these letters. Oh my God, it's such a hassle." And you just see like the subtle smile on her face. Um, Also, Arthur's dad leaves. He gets fired from all his jobs, and he is a drug addict too. And he leaves the family at this point of his life. So it's just like really, like all of a sudden, it just like really goes bad for Arthur. We meet Will's brother Curtis, who used to play. I kind I kind of felt bad for this character. This is like the most heartbreaking character when I don't know for some reason. No, I don't. The mom is the most Arthur's mom is the most heartbreaking.
oh.
Yeah. But Chris, Will's brother, he works at I think he works at police. He's like parking tickets,
Security guard. I think
security
that's what it
guard.
said, yeah.
And what's interesting about him is he used to play ball, but really just, you know, didn't have the guidance and was really just like a hothead and really didn't, you know, live up to anything. And what I find interesting about his character is his character. What I find interesting about him is he he doesn't want that for his brother. He's trying to like vicariously live this life, this basketball life with his brother. You could see scenes where he's talking about scholarships, and he's like right on his shoulder. Like it looks like he's making the decision to leave home and not Will. I just like the ensemble that the subjects that they cover. I like the coach of St. John's.
Yes, yes.
You could just he's the reason why you could see why Will just didn't want to play ball anymore, 'cause he was kind of hard. He's like, have you ever seen Whiplash?
Oh no.
He reminded me of a little less harsh than him, but J.K. Simmons' character from Whiplash. He just like, the hard head, like, and at the end he like really tries to justify, like, this is at the end, you're gonna come back in 4 years and you're gonna know I was right.
So you should have been happy and enthusiastic about doing your punishment. But someday you're gonna learn that everything that was done was for your benefit, so that you can come back 4 years from now and say, Coach, you were right.
Junior year, things get even worse for Arthur. Now they're on welfare, and that's when the gas goes out and Will's knee gets fucked up, and that's kind of like the turning point of like the whole thing. And it's kind of like a story that happens a lot in basketball, unfortunately, is like the injury that just completely blusters their career,
Yeah.
I kind of got nostalgic when I saw Arthur working at Pizza Hut. I miss Pizza Hut, man. At least the way the Pizza Hut looked in the film. Remember the Pizza Hut on 9?
Yes.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Oh, Spike Lee, another Knicks fan.
Yes, big one. Yeah.
Makes a cameo. He's at that Nike camp. That Nike camp seems crazy. It seems intense.
Yeah.
I get what they're trying to do, because college, like balancing college and grades and like in sports is a lot. But damn, like some of these guys were really fucking corny. Like the guy in the beginning, do you remember him?
You should feel like $1 million. You should feel so special. You are one of 100 of the best high school players in this country, the United States. My mother, God bless her, she's in heaven today. She's always said to me, this is America. You can make something of your life.
It gets the drama of like doing good on a test perfectly. Like you remember.
Yeah.
You remember like just like anticipating like good grades for the SATs or like a really big final. Like it took me back. This movie kind of took me back to high school and like the anxiety I would have for some of these tests and stuff like that. And some of the meetings you would have with your guidance counselors.
Oh.
Imagine someone with a camera just filming the whole interaction.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. No. Oh, yeah. I'm glad those 2 days are gone. Yeah.
Okay, I guess we can go to the senior year. Will signs with a college. He could do that easily because he is, from St. Joseph's. So
Yeah,
like the scouts are watching him.
Yeah.
The mother gets the nurse certification.
Yeah.
That was like probably like I almost teared up when she got that. That was really emotional, and I wanted to bring up like how Arthur's mother. I said mother, but Arthur's mother. Probably the most heartbreaking character out of the bunch,
Like you said, it like starts good, like with her too, and then it just sees like her.
Her hopes are so good. Like
yeah.
she is like in the beginning, she's like, I know my son is gonna be a basketball boy. I just know it.
Yeah.
And like she goes through the ringer through this movie.
Yeah.
As a documentarian, just being one of those people, I would feel kind of bad just like filming this.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I know. Just showing up every day, and it's just like, oh, all right, things aren't better.
Yeah. She does acknowledge the documentaries a few times. They asked one point Arthur like what is he writing, and he's like doesn't want to share it. I like that moment there. Will kind of ends his high school career on a kind of bummer note. They have the worst playoff finish out of the 4 years he's there, and he's a senior.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. Wanted to go to college after. Yeah.
I wanted to bring up some of the ways they highlight the games is super dramatic. Like, will he make this shot? And then he doesn't. Like, there's do you remember the free throw moment? When he was playing junior, I believe it was junior year playoffs. He has to make these two these two free throw shots, and he doesn't make them, and it's just devastating.
Senior, yeah.
Oh, was it senior year?
Yeah, because I don't think I remember that in junior year, but
they all kind of get mixed up a little bit.
Yeah, no,
sometimes.
I know what
the
you
game
mean.
specifically.
Yeah. But yeah, there was one in this junior year or sophomore year too, like where they were like down 2 points and like William dropped like I don't know like 19 points in like the second half or something, and then they like proceed to miss the shot, and then like it was against that dude who was like 6'9". I forgot his name, but yeah, yeah.
It's just so interesting to see like these two characters. It starts off bad with Arthur, and then it goes good for him at the end. And then Will, it starts off really good for him, and then it kind of ends off on a fluster. Surprisingly, Will has a child. They kind of just dropped that in the documentary out of nowhere, kind of like how he did with his coach when he said that. I love the story when he shares that he shared it with his coach, and he's like, "How long has this been going on for?" Like 4 months. Like you tell your coach you have a kid like 4 months after you have it. It's crazy. I can't imagine having a kid, teenager,
Yeah, right.
while playing basketball too.
Yeah,
Like I don't
yeah.
know. It's just it kind of stressed me out just watching these people go through their lives. Honestly,
Yeah, yeah, I know. Like we have to really be thankful for like what we have.
what I like about this documentary too, it highlights kind of like the flawed nature of like the sport and how we recruit people. You
Mm.
know, it's kind of exploitative. Like just like we'll pay you only if we really, 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 really know you're gonna be something good. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it just I don't know. It maybe it's I don't know. I don't know much about the game, but maybe it's changed since the 90s. This makes a good period piece, this movie, I would say, you know? It's cool seeing like just the 90s vibe. What did you think about the documentary as
Yeah.
a whole?
Yeah, no, it's definitely one I want to watch a second time, but like yeah, it's about basketball, but also just giving that aspect of like their daily lives in addition really makes you realize like this is more than like just a game like oh, I'm going to watch the game tonight. Like it's more than it really brings you into the players
It has
like
to because it's
yeah.
like the only footage you're getting from most of these games is the raw footage because they're high school games. Like no
Yeah,
one's
yeah.
recording it. You do see some televised footage at the end with Arthur, who does make it all the way. They finished third. His I
Mm,
forget what the school was called, but he finishes third in the states. That's crazy, and
yeah.
he beats. I remember before they even make it to states, he beats the city championship. This team called the Kings, and
Mm,
they have like these 7 foot like high school players. I'm like, damn, like I don't
yeah.
like how I don't know. It was just crazy
Yeah,
to see
yeah,
that.
yeah.
These like high school like these 17-year-olds, they look like fucking like grown men. It's
Yeah,
scary.
yeah.
And then what's cool is like the finale is not the games. The finale is them graduating, honestly. And
Mm,
I think it's supposed to like signify like maybe this game kept them out of the streets. You know, maybe this game kept them in school, kept them on the right path because school sucks. No
mhm.
one likes school.
Yeah,
We have to find a reason to like go to school. I feel like everyone should find a reason to go to school, and I feel like sports and extracurricular activities is essential for enjoying school, in my opinion. At
Mm,
least that as someone who did high school sports in high school, it really benefits your experience. So any listeners out there who have not have not been in high school yet, or in high school and not enjoying it, join a sport. It really helps with like you being engaged in everyday like school life, honestly. And
mm,
I feel like that the game helped them to be on track because it motivated them to do well in school because for them to keep playing, you
mhm.
know.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that is
Mm,
the goal of a lot of um uh, these schools. But unfortunately, you know,
mm.
money is behind it all sometimes.
Yeah. And it's kind of like how it starts too. Like William and Arthur, they both talk about like that their dream is to play in the NBA, like play
Hmm.
professionally someday. So like the just having that dream, like having something you're passionate about, yeah, is so important. Like I think it's Arthur's mom in like the first hour of the film. She says like, "There's nothing. There's no she used the word constructive, but whatever. She's
Hmm.
like, there's no playgrounds. There's nothing for them to do. Like, no
Yeah.
wonder people fall into gangs and things like that. So like for these two like kids to see like that they had this passion, like I'm sure, yeah, it helped them stay out of the streets and to be better people. Like um so yeah, like to off of what Ethan said, yeah, definitely. anyone in high school, definitely look into doing a high school sport, because yeah, it's only going to help you like socially, but also like something to look forward to every day. Because yeah, if you're it's just purely like classes,
You're
like
gonna be fucking
yeah,
miserable. I can't even imagine.
100%. So yeah.
Um, and that goes for college too. Like, try to find like something to do in college, like a hobby or something. It doesn't have to necessarily do with like in school shit, but yeah, it's always fun to find something you're passionate about. The ending, uh, where they go on from now. Will, like I said, ends up in college. It says at the end that he does eventually drop out and drops out of the basketball league, but then gets back into the game and finishes off his college career playing ball again. That would have been interesting to see, like documented. But I guess they wanted the film to end when they graduated high school.
Yeah, yeah.
Arthur, it's crazy. His college has a basketball house, not dorms. So all the basketball players like live in the house, and it's like a shitty ass house too. Like, that's terrible. Like, what?
Yeah, it probably smells like a locker room 24/7.
I'm not surprised. I am not surprised that the school was in the South. God damn, like that's crazy. I've never seen that in my life. And they said 6 out of the 7 black students in that school live in that basketball house. So I could imagine who's the one black student who's not. That you would definitely feel like an outsider. Arthur continues playing ball, and he does get accepted into a college, and then it says in the documentary he's playing his 3rd year in college, right, as of the documentary. And he has dreams of making the NBA. Spoiler alert, he doesn't make the NBA. Wah, wah. Where are they now? Well, they're in a similar situation we are in. They have a podcast. Both of them, they have a podcast together. One other thing I wanted to say, it's pretty sad, but Arthur does get mugged and robbed. They bring it up towards the end of the series, towards the end of the movie, and his dad does eventually get shot and died from a robbery. Not from him. He gets robbed and gets shot, but like it's just kind of eerie to see in the documentary something happen, and then future events, something similar happens, and it results in a death. This is just a incredible documentary, and I've only watched a few documentaries in my life. Like I really should get into more documentaries and more like professional documentaries, not like the shitty shit you see on Netflix and stuff like that. Because, man, the ones I watched, they're really good. There's one called American Movie. We covered on the 12th episode. It's about an aspiring filmmaker from Minnesota from the 90s. And I think he's from Wisconsin. He's from Wisconsin, I think, because he has like a Packers thing. But anyway, that's another great documentary that I highly recommend. And maybe we'll cover more on the podcast. Who knows? I want to get more into documentaries. I'm giving this a glass case. This is an amazing movie, and I think the length is warranted. Honestly, like I wouldn't cut anything out of the documentary. The length really brings home the ending, because you've spent so much time with these two kids who just their drive was to play the game, until it wasn't for Will, at least. That was just the most upsetting thing about the documentary to me. Everything else I was like, okay, sure, he didn't make the NBA, but like realistically he wasn't. Like statistically, like I know that's just such a hard thing to do, especially the NBA, more than any other sport, just because like the amount of players that are on the team. But it's just sad to see like Will just like even before he even makes it, even before he doesn't even try, like Arthur did. His just Will just completely got sucked out because of, I think, his coach and just like that school.
His coach demanded a lot of him, like was really hard on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a glass case as well. Granted, I haven't seen many documentaries, but this felt like something unique, like something I have not seen before. Like, I'm usually not someone that likes. Obviously, it's not reality TV, but like, I mean, it is. But
it is,
like,
yeah. But it's like cool. It's like real reality TV. Reality TV is a little scripted. There's a little scriptedness in this. This is definitely not scripted, because he can't script it.
No. So like, to see some like reality TV and they're just their stories. It's just so like two kids that just have a dream and you're just following them, and unfortunately like with life they have their struggles and everything, but it was so unique and like
It's a great coming of age movie.
mhm.
You know, it made me like it reminded me of how I felt when I graduated high school, kind of, and the anxiety I felt, and like what do I do now of the whole thing, and just seeing the characters figure out that too.
Mm.
I just love, you know,
Yeah.
it's one of the, I guess it's like one of the best coming of age movies ever, if you want to say that.
Yeah,
Just because the story is so good, it feels
Mhm.
like a movie. You know,
Yeah.
didn't this feel like a movie?
No, it did. Yeah,
It
no,
felt like a movie.
You forget at points like
It's real
that
life.
it is.
It's real
this
life.
is real life. This actually happened. Yeah.
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 Incredible.